afternoon. You're listening to Life Coaching with Alex Urbina, right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Today's show is sponsored by iLead Schools and SCVI Charter. They're inspiring lifelong learners with the skills to lead in the 21st century. They're a school that does leadership development, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence. Joining me in studio today on the board is Andrew Delgado. Andrew's going to be my my co-host for today, and I want to talk about the millennials entering the workforce. And what I did was I pulled up 10 quotes for millennials that are entering the workforce, and I kind of want to just throw them out there and really talk about them and open up some possibilities if you're listening in. So number one, the first quote is by Seth Godin, and it's time to stop complying with the system and draw your own map. Stop settling for what's good enough and start creating art that matters. What does that mean to you?
And I was going to ask what you mean by that? Because I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it's time to stop complying with the system. So basically, they're saying, stop following the herd. Stop going along with what everything is happening and what everyone is doing, and draw your own map. So basically, create your own permission to be who you are. Stop settling for what's good enough and start creating art that matters. Meaning, create, be artistic, be creative, create whatever it is that you want to create. Create your own dreams, create your own goals. Decide that you want to go after what's important to you and what really matters. Don't just kind of conform with society and go along with everyone else.
And I think that's difficult because you're brand new into the workforce. You're coming out of college, you're brand new, and older generations have done this and they know what they're doing. So you follow from your supervisor, your manager, whoever's training you on whatever you're doing. This is how you do it. Okay. But then you get to the comfort spot of, okay, I've been trained to do this way. I learned how to do this way, and I'm going to do it that way. But then to grow, what you said, create art, is say, well, what if there's another way to do it that I wasn't trained but works better or is more effective?
Well, I think that's, a good way to look at it, which is being open to all possibilities. And the first thing is being open to the possibility that your way isn't the only way or the right way. It's just the way that you do it. But I think with this quote here, what the person that quoted he's saying is, to stop settling for what's good enough. Like, oh, this is good enough. This will fly, or this works. Stop settling for just status quo and start creating some art or start creating some results that really matter to you. Create stuff that you decide that this is important to me, and put your whole heart into it so that when you do it, you're doing it with excellence. Don't just do it just to do it and get by, or to do just enough. Do it and do it wholeheartedly. Give everything you got to it.
And I think it's also with the job you have, because if you're in a job and you don't care and can care less about the job, and you just do the basic requirements of you, then why are you there working and wasting your time? Go, find something that you would put in the extra hours for, something that gets you excited, where you want to create, and an environment in which it allows you to as well.
Okay, so and I love that you brought that up, and that now opens a possibility for the young millennials that are entering the workforce. You're saying, go after what you're passionate about.
Exactly.
Go find yourself a job that's in alignment with what your vision is, or what you're excited about, or what you love to do. Some kids don't know yet what they love to do. They don't have enough experience yet. Maybe they grew up in a home where their parents never talked to them about following their dreams or getting out there and trying new things. Maybe they never had permission to get out there and try new stuff so that they can try to figure out what it is that does excite them. So if they grew up in that kind of environment and all they keep hearing is mom, hound them, or their dad saying, hey, you need to get a job, they're just going to go out there and just do the numbers. They're going to apply to 500, companies and then land on the one job that's just going to give them a paycheck. So, I love that you are opening up the possibility for these kids to really kind of go out there and create that kind of a job. I know it's a little tough right now with the millennials in the workforce, and those kinds of jobs, they're kind of slim out there. You actually have to go out there and really work at it and create that.
Right, but even if you That's fine if you don't know what you want to do yet, but go ahead and send out those 500 applicants, or try out every job just to see what lands, but do it quickly. And even if you're in a job that you might not like so much, what if you just haven't learned to like it yet, or make it your own? And that's what I think this quote does, is saying don't just fall into the norm, make it your own. You might enjoy it, and might come up with a new way to attack the same job.
All right, next quote is Grant Only. You can't plan every piece, but you can plan to make peace with that. You can't plan every piece, but you can plan to make peace with that. What does that mean to you?
A piece of what? Like, what is that? See, I'm dissecting this like crazy.
Well, it says, you can't plan every piece of your life, right?
Okay.
You can't plan the things that are out of your control, but you can plan to make peace with whatever situation arises. You can be at peace with allowing things to unfold the way they are, rather than being in resistance to those things, which causes, stress and anxiety and all that kind of stuff. Stay tuned for more. Listening to Life Coaching with Alex Urbina right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. And welcome back to Life Coaching with Alex Urbina right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Joining me in studio today on the board is Andrew Delgado, hanging out with me, talking about 10 quotes for the millennials entering the workforce. The intention to talk about these quotes is really to inspire millennials to be leaders, think outside the box, and really access their full potential. On the first segment, we talked about 2 quotes, and I'm going to get to the third. The third is by Edward Everett Hale, and it goes like this: I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And I will not let what I cannot do interfere with what I can do. What does that mean to you?
That just means be strong and be you and do you. You can't worry about anybody else but yourself. And it's up to you. Like, you can blame everybody else, like, oh, they didn't get this done. But don't let that hinder yourself.
That's awesome. I love that. So let me go over it let me break this down a little bit from my perspective. I am only one, meaning there's a million people on the planet, and you're only one of those million. But I am one. I am is the most powerful statement you can make to the universe, to God, to higher power. It's a powerful statement. I am. So therefore, I am one, meaning you are the mighty one, because you are your own personal human being with your own personal power. I cannot do everything, meaning I've surrendered to trying to do it all, right? And I'm not going to be in resistance to trying to do everything, because I can't. But I can do something. That means that you have personal power. You have a voice. You have the power to choose. You have the power to create. So you can do something that can cause some kind of an effect. You can do something to make a difference. You can do something to be a contribution. And you will not let what I cannot do get in the way with what I can do. Meaning, if you're focused on all the things that you can't do, guess what you're going to create more of?
Things you just stuff you're not doing.
Yeah, you're going to create more distractions and more of what you can't do. So this is important, to not let what you can't do interfere with what you can do. So if you live in possibilities, and if you're thinking about possibilities, and you're thinking about all the solutions rather than the roadblocks, you're going to be more apt to create those kinds of results for yourself.
Right. And one thing, like, there's going to be roadblocks, sure, with any project or anything, I'm speaking from the workplace, but don't hinder on that, or don't focus on that. Just bring them up. Okay, they're there. But then on the positives, like, get it done. Then how are you going to get over those? And how can you do that? You might have to rely on other people, but don't, harp on it if they don't get it done. Just, come up with a solution. And then you better empower yourself.
Okay, cool. I'm going to up the ante. You ready?
All right.
Next quote by Katharine Hepburn. Never lose sight of the fact that just being is fun. Never lose sight of the fact that just being is fun.
When I hear that, and I think of just almost be in the moment. That's what first came to me.
Okay.
Just being is fun. And just being there, you can have a great time, and don't, harp on yourself a lot just to, bring down on the negative. So, just be fun, be you.
So when I think of this quote, I think of a baby, a newborn baby, doesn't know how to do anything, doesn't know how to walk, doesn't know how to talk, doesn't know how to articulate its thoughts. It's just being. It's pure being, which is pure, powerful magnificence, authenticity, right? So vulnerable, so powerful, just being itself. So when I think about this, I think of never losing the sight of the fact of just being who you are is fun.
Yeah.
I think we kind of taint our experiences in life.
How so?
By trying to do things, with having the expectations of doing things and having, rather than just being fun, being funny, being loving, being compassionate, being powerful, being at peace. Being is the fun part of the human being that we call ourselves. But where we get it all mixed up is planning to do things and then having expectations of doing them right, or doing them fast enough, or doing them effectively, and then we taint that experience of just being who we are and allowing ourselves to be in that moment.
But how can you, be, but in the negative? Because right now I'm thinking of being, happy times and, get away from the negative. But how can you also turn that negative, when you're being, negative, turn it around to grow, for growth?
Well, I think what I love about this quote is, for me, it reminds me of taking everything back to neutrality, being neutral. A lot of times when things happen, when a situation arises, as human beings, we don't allow things to be neutral first. We've trained ourselves to be on automatic pilot, and we're judgment machines. So an event happens right in front of us, and we decide in an instinct. We decide that's good, bad, right, or wrong, or it shouldn't have happened. We don't just allow things to just be neutral first. If we allow an event to just first be neutral, then we realize that we actually have the power to choose to interpret that event any which way that we want. But when you're unconscious and you're not present, you're not in that moment, you're automatically choosing just out of a habit. Something happens and you decide that's not good, or that's not right, or that shouldn't be like that. What if we just went back to being neutral and allowing things to be what they are first? So that's what I think about this quote, is never lose sight of the fact that just being is fun. After that, we decide to not have it be fun. We decide to be miserable. We decide that this event I don't like, so now it's going to make me upset for the rest of the night. We're kind of the meaning maker to all of this.
Okay, and I see that, and but I'm struggling on how, I guess just because I've been, conformed and brought up that way, to instantly react. And I think a lot of millennials do that as well. Instant react, instant gratification, instant, thought. I thought of this, so this is what I'm going to say. And then that happens a lot with celebrities. They say something and like, you know what, I didn't really mean to say that. I'm sorry, on Twitter or whatever.
That's right. Yeah, they're always having to go back and kind of clean things up.
Right, instead of just like taking a breath and like, okay, how do I really feel about this? Is this good or bad? And things like that. And I think, technology might have something to do with that. But the millennials are struggling with that.
Well, not just the technology, but the platform that we've created in technology with social media for us to express ourselves at a drop of a dime. We now can just express ourselves, and then it goes to millions of people. Rather than stopping and allowing ourselves to try to make sense of what this person said or why they said it, or try to put ourselves in their shoes, unconsciously, we don't operate like that. Consciously, we can stop, we can sit with it, we can decide, and then we can choose a proper response. But like, I think you're right. With the millennials, that everything is fast paced, it's instant gratification. We're unconsciously just deciding in the moment, and we're not really thinking about the outcome, or maybe even the other person, how they feel on their end. Stay tuned for more listening to Live Coaching with Alex Urbina right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.